Present. I will now call this meeting to order. The time is 5:21 p.m. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. I will now turn the floor over to Mr. Brian Grubbs, Managing Director, Samco Capital Markets, Inc., who will present a workshop related to the redemption of the Unlimited Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2014.
There we go. Is that better? All right. Well, good evening again. My name is Brian Grubbs, Samco Capital Markets. Had the pleasure of serving your district as financial advisor for a number of years. The purpose of the discussion this evening is to provide you with an update of another opportunity that you have as a district to take excess INS fund balance and pay off some of your outstanding bonds for interest cost savings. So with that, we'll start here with a chart of the district's outstanding debt service. The navy blue bars represent the outstanding principal, with the yellow bars representing the outstanding interest. This is for all of your outstanding debt. If you look at the top left of this particular chart, I want to point out that back in May of 2016, when you last approached the voters with a bond election, we had a projection that in the 23-24 fiscal year, the total taxable value was assumed to be $8.5 billion, and that the INS tax rate projected would be 44 cents. That was based on our planning for the last time you went to the voters with an election. If you look to the top right of this chart, you'll notice that your taxable value is now north of $12.6 billion, and the INS tax rate is just under 29.5 cents. So far less what you had anticipated and that you projected to the voters when they approved your last bond election. These next two slides is a look at the district's bond refinancing and redemption results going all the way back to 2007. The district has had an opportunity with our very low interest rate environment to refinance outstanding bonds, replace those bonds with lower interest rates, just like you would a home mortgage, to save the district interest cost and the taxpayers' money on your payments. You'll notice that going back from 2007 through 2015, continuing on with the next page, 2016 through August of 2023, earlier this year, you have been completing a combination of not only bond refinancings, but more recently, over the last 3 years, cash redemptions, where you have excess INS fund balance. Those monies can only be used for debt service. Rather than refinancing and leaving these bonds outstanding, your district has elected to pay these off completely. If you look at the bottom of this slide, you'll see that going back to 2007, between your bond refinancings and your redemptions, the district has saved over $44.2 million in interest cost. It's going to be that interest cost that allows you, when the time is needed, to go back to the voters with the ability to have substantial bond capacity to do so. Now, with respect to what is on the agenda this evening, it is the cash redemption of the bonds that were sold in 2014. These bonds are callable in February of 2024. The district has to take action to adopt a redemption resolution at least 45 days in advance, which is why we're here before you this evening. Subject to your approval, later in the meeting, we will take this and the bondholders will be made aware that it is your intent to pay them off on February 15th of 2024 when they become callable. The outstanding bonds represent $5,175,000 of principal with an average interest rate of 3.25%. In doing so, paying off this in its entirety in February, you will save the district another $611,181,000 of additional interest cost. The last part of this slide just shows the INS fund balance history, going back to your audited figure of a little over $2.5 million to our unaudited estimate of a little over 2.1, and still having, even after paying off these bonds in February, over 645,000, if not more. And these are believed to be my conservative projections. So with respect to your cash flows, let's look at column 2. This represents your outstanding debt service currently. In paying off the bonds, the 2014 bonds, you will be removing the debt service under column 3. By making the payment there under column 4, the $5,175,000, you'll see the savings highlighted in red that aggregate at the bottom of column 5 to the $611,181. But what I do want to point out is if you look under column 9, this is a look at where your tax base is currently at the $12.6 billion. You can see at the top of column 10, this is the tax rate that you're currently setting. But if your tax base does not grow at all, you will already have built-in capacity going into next year by reducing the debt service on continually paying off these bonds and refinancing like you have. So all in all, the district is in very, very healthy shape with respect to the INS budget, not only from what you told the voters back in 2016, but also currently where you sit with the INS tax rate. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have for me this evening. All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Grubbs. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 5:27 p.m. A quorum is present. I will now call this meeting to order. An executive session of the board will now be held on the matters contained in the notice for this meeting as authorized by sections 551.001 through section 551.084 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act. Should the board determine that any final action, final decision, or final vote be required with regards to any matter considered in such closed or executive meeting or session, then such final action, final decision, or final vote shall be at either this public meeting upon the reconvening of this public meeting or at a subsequent public meeting of the board upon notice thereof as the board shall determine. A closed or executive meeting of the board will now be held. The time is 5:30 p.m. Executive session is adjourned, and the board is now in open session. The time is 5:50 p.m. A quorum is present, and I will now call this public hearing to order. The time is 5:50 p.m. Mr. Brian Clements, Executive Director for Security and Technology, will conduct a public hearing to present the Technology Protection Measure and Internet Safety Policy.
Well, good evening, Board, Cabinet, and our public that is with us tonight. This is our annual public hearing that we do that covers the Children's Internet Protection Act. This is an act that was passed in 2000 to ensure the safety of our students and our staff as we interact on the Internet. So I just want to share with you some of the things that it requires and then what we're doing to meet those requirements. The requirements of SIPA are fourfold: that we have technology protection measures in place, that we have an internet safety policy, that we teach an internet safety curriculum, and that we have a public notice and a hearing on that each year. So number 4, we are completing tonight. So let's walk through and show you a little bit of what's going on. The biggest technology protection measure we have is our light speed relay filter. It filters everything that comes and goes on the internet for Galena Park ISD. Wanted to give you just some numbers. For the first week of December this year, it filtered 94,000 different users and devices on our network. That is computers, Chromebooks, phones, anything that ties into our network, 94,000 devices. In just 1 week's time, Lightspeed looked at over 100 million transactions that go through our switches. And out of that 100 million, a little over 5%, 5,800,000 were websites that were blocked. Things that were either sexually oriented, weapons, different things that way that we don't allow to come across our network when we do that. We use Google Enterprise for Education as our learning management system, and where our kids interact, where we do Google Class, where we have their mail, their docs, all of those things. And Google Enterprise provides some protection for us. But I want to show you, this is login attempts to student accounts for 1 week recently. And if you'll look, all the greens are successful logins, or no, they're successful tries within country. All the yellow you see are logins from outside the United States trying to get into our students' accounts. That's usually one of two things. The first one is it's students that want to use a VPN or VPN service so they can get around our filters. And then the other are actual attempts from outside. If you look, there's a heavy group in Europe, and then you'll see some in Russia and a few places over there. Those are hackers trying to come in. Recently, in the last few months, there's been 2 school districts in the United States that have been hacked because of their Google accounts from their students and weak passwords. And we've taken steps to work on that I'll tell you about in just a second. But that's what we see. That's the number of hits. And so you know when somebody tries to log into a student or an adult account and they're out of the country, our system immediately locks that account and disables it so that they can't get in. And we know we have some cases where we do have people who are legitimately out of the country, and those are ones that we can put into a special group and allow them, or say it's an employee traveling out of the country, we can do that. Everybody else is an immediate lockdown so that we don't have that threat as we do that. So this was login attempts to staff accounts, and you'll see a little more on the Russian side and a lot more in the Europe area. So again, same rules apply there. If it's out of the country, we lock it down. We have to do that. Both VPN and out-of-country access. That one thing is one of the major security risks that districts have to figure out and have to make happen. So our third thing that we use is BARC for schools, and you're familiar with that. You get a weekly report as we talk about BARC. BARC examines everything that goes on in the Google environment. If a student sends an email, if a student submits a document, if they type a message, any of those things come through. We started this in September 2 years ago. Since then, we have filtered over 881 million transactions. That 4.8 million that you see is 1 week's worth of activities, and this happens to be last week's. And then you can see some of the things that BARC looks for. You know, our big target is self-harm or suicidal content, and we address those immediately. But BARC looks at profanity, sexual content, bullying, hate speech, and you can see the other things there that concern us. If it's self-harm and it's human reviewed on their side, we get a notice that says, this is out here, you need to address it. And we don't care what time of day or night. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning on the weekend, we are addressing that. We're getting a call from them and somebody is talking to a parent, or we're going by that house to make sure that our students are safe in that process. The other thing that BARC gives us is parents can sign up for the BARC portal for free, and it gives them the same notifications that we get on their students, but it also gives them some parental controls on their devices should they choose to use them. We monitor just over 21,000 student accounts, and out of that, 67% of those, the parents have signed up for BARC for to use those services. So it's worked very well for us. So let's talk a little bit more. How else have we shored up what we're doing? Multi-factor authentication. Most of you are familiar with multi-factor authentication. That's where you go to log in and it says, I'm going to send you a verification code, and you have to put it in, or it uses an authenticator app like Microsoft Authenticator, and you have to put that in. That verifies that you are the person who is doing that. Just that step, along with the locking out the out-of-country pieces, is the lion's share of what we're doing to secure our network and doing that. The other thing is on our students, we've always used a generic password that was very easy to figure out if you're a smart kid. And just recently, we've done away with that. We have moved all of our students pick their own passwords. They set those. If they forget them, a teacher can give them a reset code. They go in, they can reset that. But we're not using a generic anywhere that can be figured out and can be gotten. On top of all that, the state of Texas now is monitoring traffic coming in and out of school districts, counties, cities. And we get notices when they see traffic of somebody trying to log in on an account that we know is compromised. So all of those things work together to provide a safe environment for our kids and our staff. So our internet safety policy is pretty straightforward. The big thing that we remind people is use of our system is a privilege. It's not a right. We cover the basics of we don't share passwords. We don't install personal software. Software has to be licensed, and you can see the other things that we have on there. Both our students and our employees sign that acceptable use policy, and that helps to set the boundaries for how we use the internet. Our employees, they do internet safety training each year at the beginning of the school year. And then during the school year, we also do a mandated cybersecurity training through a provider called Proofpoint, who gives that training and does our mail filtering for us. And again, that meets the state standards for cybersecurity training. And you as board members have had some of that same training through another provider, again, to make sure that we're teaching people the right way to use the equipment that we have. So let's talk about internet safety for our students. We divide out by levels. Elementary students, you'll see the basics, personal information, passwords, things that they will grasp. As we move to middle school, we start talking about social media, chatting online, and again, what that persona looks like. And by the time we get to high school, we're looking at things like, how do you protect your reputation? Getting the point across that once you put something out there, you never get it back. And again, teaching them to be not just productive citizens, but good digital citizens in the process. Our parents, we do both in person, our DLACs present digital learning for them, and we also have online resources we give to parents to help them with internet safety tips. And obviously, it's more important than ever. If you look at what we have in our district, we have over 30,000 Chromeboxes in play, 1,000 T-Mobile hotspots. We've put technology in the hands of our children, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we protect them and put them in a safe environment as they use that. So that is the quick on the Children's Internet Protection Act. I will ask you for the hearing part. Are there any questions from my board members?
I have a quick, simple question. I'm assuming the parent account for BARC only covers the computer device that we provide and not their cell phones.
No, they can let it provide. So we're only monitoring what's happening in the Google environment. Mm-hmm. So if they're on Gmail on their phone, that's our account, or if they're doing documents on their devices, it covers that. But the BARC Junior that parents can sign up for, it gives them control over their privately owned devices. A parent can say, I want your internet to shut off at this time. I don't want you to go to these sites. And it gives them that typically is a pay-for service BARC provides as part of our contract.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything? So.
I have a
yep.
question, Brian.
Go ahead.
As far in terms of the passwords, are we requiring alphanumeric passwords and special characters, or what are we doing to try
So
to?
we don't give you the whole list of one character, one capital, this, but what we do is we have an algorithm that gives a score to the strength of your password, and it looks at, do you have more than just letters? Do you have a capital? It scores it, and all they see is you have to have a password that scores at least 3 on the strength scale, 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And so when it'll tell you week, 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 and then it'll finally say you've met the score. And we do that with them so that, again, we're not mandating all those pieces, but it does make them have a stronger password in the process.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay? So my other address is to our public who is here. Are there any questions that you might have on what we do with the internet and how we protect our children? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Clements. The public hearing is adjourned. The time is 6:01 p.m. The Board of Trustees of Galena Park Independent School District is now convened in a regular meeting on December 11th, 2023, in the Administration Building of Galena Park Independent School District, the address of which is 14705 Wood Forest Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77015. The time is 6:01 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that your cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Galena Park Independent School District. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. We do have public comments for non-agenda items today. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district. Other than the character of any student, staff, or board member, I would like to remind the audience that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of speakers. Please understand that a lack of response from the board members does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. The vice president of the board will be the designated timekeeper. Dr. John Moore, will you please step up to the podium?
Hello. All right, so I'm going to do my public comment from right here, guys. That's okay. There's a hero who walks among us, never looking for glory or praise. They don't seek recognition for their thoughtful and caring ways, living lives of deep commitment, providing for those that they hold dear, steadfast with a quiet strength through times of laughter and tears. You are a person like that, the most selfless being by far. So, Mr. David Harris, we'd like to thank you for being who you are. Tonight is David Harris's last board meeting. He will be retiring. Stand up, David. He has dedicated his life to children, and tonight's his last one.
Miss Ida Rocha, will you please step up to the podium?
Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Ida Rochan, and I'm a Galena Park ISD 1996 graduate and community member. I stand before you today on behalf of Galena Park ISD Long Range Planning Committee. The Long Range Planning Committee is comprised of 37 Galena Park ISD community members and district employees. The committee was convened to share insight and potential facility needs and met 7 times from June of 2023 to November of this year. During our meeting, we toured Galena Park ISD facilities like Galena Park High School, Cimarron Elementary, and North Shore 10th grade campus to see our 2 oldest facilities and a new facility. We also reviewed facility condition assessment data, reviewed attendance information, brought need forward to the community, prioritized needs and projects, identified some immediate needs, reviewed school district funding sources, reviewed potential bond finances options. With financial information in mind, the committee voted on projects with estimate cost. Today, the committee would like to make the following recommendations for your consideration. By replacing Cimarron Elementary, partial replacement of MacArthur Elementary, Galena Park High School Master Plan Phases 3 through 5, partial replacement of and addition of Woodland Acres Middle School, Galena Park Middle School band addition, a multi-purpose facility for Galena Park High School as well as North Shore Senior High, miscellaneous deferred maintenance, roof replacements, and site security improvement projects. I thank you for all you do, and we hope you will consider moving forward with our recommendations.
Thank you, Ms. Rocha. Tonight's invocation will be presented by Adrian Stevens, and the pledges to the American and Texas flag will be led by the Woodland Acres Middle School, Army LOTC. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledges of allegiance to the flag.
Dear God, as we gather for the Galena Park ISD School Board meeting, we extend our gratitude and thankfulness for the year behind us and seek your guidance for the path ahead. May our decisions be rooted in the best interests of our students, teachers, and the community. Grant us the strength to collaborate effectively and the insight to make choices that foster educational growth and inclusivity. May our endeavors contribute to the betterment of the learning environment and the future success of all involved. God, may your protection be a shield around us as we navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. May the holiday season bring joy and warmth to our school community, and may all find solace in the embrace of their loved ones. Amen.
Left face, freeze down.
You may be seated. We will now move on to this evening's special recognition portion of the agenda. Dr. Moore?
Test. How many people does it take to turn a mic on? Obviously more than me, right? Okay, I think Norma Hernandez is going to come on up and help us. And once again, I'm glad to see everybody out tonight. We appreciate you spending your time at our board meeting, taking time away from your family and so on. Galena Park is truly a great place to be, and it's because of the wonderful staff and students we have here. So if you're a part of our staff or you're here with a student, happy holidays. May God bless.
Good evening. We would like to begin this evening's recognitions by showing appreciation to the East Harris County Empowerment Council for partnering with the district. Dr. Sarita Augustine, Senior Director for Student Support Services, please join us on stage to receive the award on behalf of East Harris County Empowerment Council. The East Harris County Empowerment Council provided 100 turkey vouchers to our Hope for the Holidays service project. Along with all the trimmings donated by Galena Park ISD employees, 100 turkey vouchers were distributed to our students and their families to help them have a turkey feast. Thank you to the East Harris County Empowerment Council. Next, we would like to recognize the Fellowship of Purpose World Changers Youth Ministry for partnering with the district to provide 50 families with Thanksgiving baskets. Representing the ministry, Kim Lane and Daniel Richard. Dr. Augustine and Dr. Haynes, please join us on stage. The district recognizes and commends the church for its efforts in making a difference in the lives of Galena Park ISD families. We are thankful for this spirit of giving in our community. We truly appreciate you. This evening's final recognition is for the North Shore Senior High School Marching Band, directed by Shane Goforth, for advancing to the University Interscholastic League Conference 6A State Marching Band Contest. The band is directed by, please join us on stage as your name is called, Mr. Shane Goforth, Mr. Brandon Laird, Mr. Mario Sanchez, and Mr. Michael Tenalio. Please hold your applause until all names have been called. The following band leaders will receive the recognition on behalf of North Shore Senior High School Marching Band. Angel Aguilera, Natalie Amador, Valerie Arriaga, Jacob Diaz, Jermiel Fernandez, Jehu Garcia, Michael Gonzalez, Luis Hernandez Jr., Daisha Joseph, Josiah Martinez, Sarai Montoya, Trinity McCleary, Bettina Molina, Natalie Ramirez, Annabelle Ruiz, and Barbara Williams. Congratulations, North Shore Senior High School Marching Band. The dedication and tireless efforts of these students and their sponsors are commendable. Mr. Pearson and any other principals, please join them on stage at this time for a photo. Congratulations, band. You truly embody a community of excellence. This concludes this evening's portion of the recognitions. Thank you.
Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this time. Does anyone have a comment?
The only comment I have is to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and enjoy your vacation. Thank you.
I have a comment. I was privileged to be able to attend the state competition, band competition, and had a chance to watch our kids perform, and it was absolutely amazing. And I wanted to just extend another congratulations for all of your efforts and all that you guys do. Watching you prepare for that, watching you standing out in the freezing cold before the actual competition, and how you guys just move instruments in and out of that giant 18-wheeler. And I mean, the precision is unreal. So thank you guys for all you do, and thank you for representing GPISD like you do.
I got one. And I want to echo that sentiment, and also I want to extend my appreciation to all the students, your parents, your grandparents that volunteered, that fed the kids, all the people that went out there with all the blood, sweat, and tears, sometimes literally, to make sure that the band did wonderful. And I tell you what, I want to invite anybody who has not been out in the summer to watch these kids get ready. And I want to commend Mr. Goforth and the entire leadership team for all the great work, and especially the kids for never giving up.
That's right.
That's what life's all about. You never give up, so congrats.
Yeah. I'd like to say ditto, and also I'd like to acknowledge a group of people, the Long Range Planning Committee, that took time to come out tonight to do the presentation. If you guys would just stand up and let us applaud you. They think they're walking out. Thank you.
I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the North Shore Mustangs. We're going to state, yeah. Not only are the players very important, so are the coaches, the trainers, the doctors, everyone that's on the field. Also, the performance at halftime is incredible. The cheerleaders, the drill team, ROTC, everyone gets out there. It's just amazing to watch. The community, we have such support. And regardless of the score this coming Saturday, we are the winners.
That's right. Sam Harris, Director of Fine Arts and Academic Enrichment, will present an academic spotlight with a video highlighting musical literacy and the individual assessment program used at North Shore Senior High School. The North Shore Senior High School Choir will perform live.
Thank you, Mr. President, Dr. Moore, members of the board. Before we start that, back in October, we announced to you all our visual arts department becoming a district of distinction. The Friday before Thanksgiving, I and Assistant Fine Arts Director Mickey Weiniger were in Dallas with our art staff, and I brought our little recognition plaque to show you. I'll pass it around if you want to be one of those board members and take a selfie with it and put it up. But our visual arts people, they're not out there like theater and music and dance in front of the public. They're probably our least recognized, but they serve the most number of kids in our school district. So I am so proud of the visual arts teachers and our visual arts kids. Tonight, my presentation, I think you'll see consistency is kind of the theme that goes through that. Consistency in high quality instruction, consistency of high expectation for student achievement, excellence in all, by all, for all, no excuses, and consistency of staff. So tonight, I want to talk to you about literacy. But before I do, there's somebody I'd like you to meet. Since North Shore opened in 1963, there have only been 3 choir directors until this year. Paul Harrison from 1963 to 1984, me from 1985 to 2000, and Enrique Cuyasso from 2000 until 2022. And now we have somebody who's going to lead us for decades to come.
So my name is Anthony Rodriguez. I'm the new head choir director here at North Shore Senior High. I am North Shore. I grew up in Cloverleaf. I went to Cloverleaf Elementary to Cobb, and then I went through North Shore Middle School where I was actually in band with Mr. Hampton. And then I got to high school and I joined choir under the direction of Enrique Cuyasso. And I had a great time. It left a huge impression on me. I participated in all the pop shows, all the solo and ensemble events in region, and I eventually was an all-state member my senior year in high school. And through that experience, I realized that I wanted to become a choral director.
When I speak about literacy, many of you will think I'm talking about reading and writing in English. But I'm talking about musical literacy this evening. Musical literacy is where our students take a piece of music and read in 3 different languages to interpret that music. They're creating pitch, they're recreating rhythm, and understanding all of the Italian terms, sforzando, diminuendo, poco a poco, all at the same time to recreate music that a composer has set. So tonight, let's look at how one of our programs is teaching musical literacy and the assessment they're using to hold all students accountable and increase their musical literacy.
1, 2, ready. Kus, kil, biab, su, re, ma. So why is music literacy important to the choral tradition and specifically our choral program? A lot of what we do in choir, from the audience's point of view, seems very easy. But what makes us stellar musicians is the sight reading process and specifically music literacy and being able to read all those spots and notation and weird symbols that are on the page of music that these students are put in front of. So it's very important. Early on in my career, I realized that a lot of the sight reading that we lead in everyday rehearsals is done so in a group effort, but not so much as an individualistic idea.
My experience with sight reading at UAL has been like a journey because I started off my sophomore year not knowing anything about sight reading. And then the level up system had just come around, and I learned how to sight read within a year, which is insane.
So here at North Shore, we use what is known as a level up system. And it was created before my time by my predecessors, and it is an amazing system. It's a system that I actually adopted at my very own program in my past years of teaching, and I modified it in a way, and now I'm back at North Shore where it was created, and it's thriving. This system relies on a series of 5 sight reading resources that we use, and the kids gradually level up in a systematic process that allows them to gain the utmost knowledge in music literacy. And they leave the program better sight readers and better musicians for it.
Measure 17, okay? All right, here we go. We're starting from the very beginning. We're chanting. Everybody's on do, but the tenor's on mi. Here we go. 1, 2, you're pulsing, right? 1, 2, and ready, and chant.
First of all, in choir, they teach us how to read like solfege, do solfege, and dynamics, and pitches, and everything. So for sight reading, it's a process where we basically audiate, we read. We have a acronym, CASES, which is where C, we chant, then we A, we audiate, S, we sing, E, we evaluate, and then S, we sing again. So that's basically the process as a whole. It helps you think about it more, because you can't just like sing.
Sight reading basically made me a better singer, because you have to sight read in the pre-area and area levels of the all-state process. So not only does it make you a better singer in the entire choir, it also helps you whenever you need to go audition other places where they tell you, here's a piece of music, read it. And something else that they tell us to do when we're sight reading is to just sing it like it's a normal piece of music, because if you can see something that you've just gone and you can automatically go into the mindset of how can you be musical with this, what phrases can you add, then that really takes your musicianship as a whole to the next level no matter what you do. If you keep on doing choir or you go into a different music thing, then it's going to stay with you the entire time.
Here we go, 24 again. 1, 2, ready.
They also learn how to read music in a way that not just helps them for the UIL competition, but also allows them to be independent readers so that in the future they could pick up a piece of music and they can do anything they want with it. They can read any part they want, and they can understand what they're truly looking at. They are more than prepared for the UIL process. They actually have levels 1 through 10, and the UIL process will probably only be at a level 5 or a 6, but many of our students are level 10s, which means that they can read some of the hardest pieces of literature that can ever be handed to them. And so this process allows for not just musical independence, but music literacy to be refined to the highest degree.
Through each pieces, you start to form a bond with the music, and you start to prone into your own personal experience with these music. So it not only ties in a personal aspect, but it makes you really feel the music. So while performing, you're not only proud of what you're performing, but you really resonate with it. You grow as a performer and as a person.
So how does the level up process work? There's 5 books that we use. Book 1 is levels 1 and 2, and then book 2 is levels 3 and 4, and so on and so forth. So each book has 2 levels to it, and there's 5 books in total. A student, we will start level 1 all together as a class and sing through many level 1 examples. When they come up to the director alone, we randomly choose an example from the book that they are given 30 seconds to study. And at that 30 seconds, we give them a pitch, we give them their tonic triad specifically, and they will read the example. Here at North Shore, we expect perfection and the utmost excellence in musicality and music. And so if it is not perfect, they are sent to rework the example and to eventually come back and sight read it perfectly. So that's how it works for every level. once they become a level 8, they are allowed to sight read other students. So a level 8 student can level up a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, all the way up to level 8. And once you make it to 8, you are able to level up others. And then when you make it to 9 and 10, you must be leveled up by a director solely, so that we make sure, for transparency reasons, everybody did what they were supposed to do. Each student, once they level up, they are given a level up sheet that they will slip in the front of their binder, and this lets us know when we look at the choir who's leveled up and who hasn't. And it directly correlates to the UIL sight reading session that you'll even see in today's meeting. When we look up usually the weaker sections, when we look at their sight reading levels, they're usually the lowest in levels. So this allows us to pinpoint exactly where the errors are occurring in the music. So the level up process is not just for a group solution, but it's an individual solution, which is the only way music is refined.
Thank you so much for exploring musical literacy with us this evening. And now I would invite the board and cabinet members to take a seat in the audience and enjoy a quick performance by the North Shore Senior High School Chorale under the direction of Anthony Rodriguez. So while we've got them here, Ms. Layler is going to be our assistant. They're going to demo reading a few measures of music for you before they sing you a couple of tunes. So if they were in the evaluation process, one of the adjudicators would ask them, has any student member of this organization read, rehearsed, or performed this piece prior to today's evaluation? No, sir. You may begin when your director asks you to open your music.
All right, ready, choir? Here we go. Open your music. We are in the key of D flat. All right, we're in the key of D flat. Bases start on do. Tenors start on mi. Also start on do. Sopranos on do. Here we go. We're chanting strong. 1, 2, 3, and chant. Do, mi, fa, sol.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Take a look at the 5 and 10 listening once again. What candy days are gone. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store. But the biggest sight to see is the holly that's a big on your old front.
A pair of buffalo boots and a pistol that shoots is the way Shabani and Ben. Girls that will talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Dennis and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will sound, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right in your heart.
So wah wah wah, like Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. I can hardly wait for school to start again.
It's beginning to look a lot
like Christmas.
Soon the bells will sound, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart, right within your heart.
You ready? All right. We now come to the business portion of tonight's meeting. We invite and encourage you to stay for the remainder of the meeting. However, if you need to leave early, we understand, and this is a convenient time to do so. We appreciate your attendance. Please come again. Harold Sonny Fletcher III, Senior Director for Facility Planning and Construction, will provide a 2016 bond program and facilities construction update.
Mike's good. Good evening, President Esparza, Board, Dr. Moore, and Cabinet. Real quick, we'll talk about Pyburn Elementary School. The second phase of that's wrapping up. You see there's a logo there in that picture on the left. That's in the terrazzo that'll be going in. That's right at the front door. So things are progressing very nicely there. You see the ceiling starting to go in. This picture's about a week and a half old. So all that terrazzo's down and they're grinding it to get it nice and polished. So going along very, very nicely, very happy with that progress. And then of course, Galena Park High School, our Career and Technology and Dining Commons edition. Things are going there well there. You see the brick going in, and that's a restroom with tile on the wall and a ceiling finished. So you can imagine with some paint and some fixtures and stalls, that'll be ready to go here in a few months as well. And then we've got our ESSER project here at Tice. Not a worry maybe today, but of course coming this summer, those are where our new chillers are going to sit, and those get delivered at 6 o'clock in the morning. So happy with those chillers coming in with the crane and everything tomorrow. What questions might you all have? I wish I could. That was exceptional. That was exceptional. My apologies, Mr. Garza, for not being able to sing my presentation. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Is there a motion to approve the general consent agenda?
I, Adrian Stevens, move we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
I, Norma Hernandez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Adrian Stevens and seconded by Norma Hernandez. All in favor? The motion carries 7-0 with no abstentions. With respect to the construction consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Ramon Garza, move we approve the construction consent agenda as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second that motion.
A motion was made by Ramon Garza and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? The motion carries 7-0 with 0 abstentions. With respect to the financial consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Norma Hernandez, move we approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
Linda Sherrod, second the motion. I'm sorry. I, Linda Sherrod, second the motion.
A motion was made by Norma Hernandez and seconded by Linda Sherrod. All in favor? The motion carries 7-0 with 0 abstentions. The following documents were presented to the board for information. A, Dr. Sonia Nizy, Chief Financial Officer and Deputy Superintendent for Operational Support, presented 1, Tax Collection Report for October 2023, number 2, 2016 Bond Program Financial Report as of October 31st, 2023. And B, Ms. Elizabeth Legler, Deputy Superintendent for Educational Support and School Administration, presented 1, Early Head Start Policy Council Meeting Minutes from October 2023, and 2, Early Head Start Update and Fund 205 Expenditure Report Summary from October 2023. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 6:53 p.m.